So good morning. This subcommittee works towards reauthorization of the Surface Transportation Board. Today, we have an opportunity to hear from members of the board to determine what additional authorities are needed to improve rail service across the country. The STB is a unique independent agency that is the primary economic regulator of freight railroads, responsible for ensuring that the railroads honor their common carrier obligations. Shippers play a critical role in the national supply chain by making the food we eat, ensuring the water that we drink is safe, providing electricity, and providing building materials. We held a hearing with stakeholders 2 months ago who sounded the alarm on the rail service issues and to get their ideas for reauthorization. Recently, the STB held 2 days of emergency public testimony on the meltdown of our nation's freight rail operations. The STB heard from many shippers, labor leaders, and even Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg and Agriculture Deputy Secretary Bruno on the significant delays in transporting cargo by freight rail. Chemical shippers are enduring 78% longer transit times, and service days have been cut nearly in half. Agriculture producers such as soybean and rice have seen a particularly sharp decline in the quality of freight rail service. The National Grain and Feed Association recently wrote to this subcommittee explaining that, and I quote, "The current inability of several Class I carriers to provide reliable rail service to their customers is impacting farm gate commodity prices and elevating food prices for customers. Increasing prices for our food, gas prices at the pump, turning on our lights, and having safe drinking water is crucial. These are all impacted by increasing delays in freight rail service. Quite frankly, this is unacceptable. The timely and efficient movement of goods remains of paramount importance to a strong economy. I understand that Class I freight railroads' explanation of the decline in service is due to several factors, including workforce shortage. What is maddening is that the very workforce shortage contributing to the decline in service is a result of the class is implementing precision scheduled railroading, or PSR. Excuse me. By the end of last year, Class I railroad workforce was cut by nearly a third compared to 2015. Those cuts began years before the pandemic hit, and despite knowing it takes a number of months to return qualified workers to the rails, the railroad doubled down by cutting again in 2020. I've been concerned to hear from workers and their unions about employees being overworked and rushed on the job. Now, the worsening working conditions, years of job insecurity, and the months required to properly train workers before they can return to service have come home to roost in the form of severe hiring challenges the railroads currently face. All of this is why the STB held the emergency hearing. Last week, the STB unanimously acted to require the largest railroads, UP, BNSF, CSX, and NS, to develop service recovery plans to improve service and metrics to measure progress, including goals and measures for rail service performance and employment training and hiring levels. Stakeholders have also proposed new authorities, such as expanding the STB's ability to assess fines or allow for reverse delay charges that shippers can charge carriers. I look forward to hearing board members' views on the stakeholder proposals and their own proposals.